Have you ever had someone decide they could use your property without even asking? That's exactly what my HOA did. They planned a beautiful new bike path for their neighborhood. Smooth pavement, wooden fences, scenic views, families riding bikes on sunny afternoons. There was just one small problem. They built the entire path straight through my pasture, and they somehow forgot one important detail. That pasture wasn't empty land. It was active cattle land with over 40 full-grown cows. My family has owned that land for generations. About 60 acres of open pasture just outside town. It's not fancy land. No luxury homes, no golf courses. Just rolling grass fields, wooden fences, and cattle. For decades it stayed quiet, until a developer bought land right next to it. Within 2 years, a brand new neighborhood appeared. Large houses, perfect sidewalks, and of course, a very strict HOA at first. I didn't pay much attention. The new residents mostly stayed on their side of the fence, but one afternoon I noticed something strange. Construction equipment, survey flags, workers measuring land right along my pasture fence. So I walked over and asked one of the workers what they were doing. He told me they were building a community bike trail for the HOA, a path that would circle the entire neighborhood. I nodded and said that sounded nice. Then I asked one simple question. Why are you measuring inside my fence? The worker looked confused. He checked his map and said the trail route ran straight through that area. I told him that wasn't possible because that area was my pasture, and those cows behind the fence, they belonged to me. He shrugged and said he was just following the HOA's construction plan. A few days later, I received a letter from the HOA. According to them, the bike path was part of a community improvement project, and apparently, they believed they had the right to build it across my property, without permission, without payment, without even a conversation. I immediately contacted them to explain the situation, but the response I got was unbelievable. They claimed the land in question was a shared green corridor, which meant they could build the bike path there. I told them that wasn't correct. The land was clearly listed on my deed, but they insisted their survey was accurate, and construction continued anyway. Within weeks, workers removed part of my fence. Heavy equipment rolled directly into my pasture. They cleared a strip of grass, laid gravel, and then paved a smooth asphalt trail right across the middle of the field where my cattle grazed. When I first saw the finished path, I honestly couldn't believe it. A perfectly paved bike trail, cutting through a working cattle pasture. At first, nothing happened. People started using the trail immediately. Families rode bikes, joggers passed through. Kids zoomed along on scooters, all directly through land where 40 large cows spent their days eating grass. And then the cows noticed. Cattle are curious animals. When something new appears in their field, they investigate. Within a few days, the herd gathered around the path, sniffing it, walking across it, standing on it, and eventually using it. Soon the HOA started getting complaints. Cyclists were running into cows blocking the path. Joggers were stepping in things they didn't expect to see on a bike trail. People were posting photos online of cows casually standing in the middle of the pavement. But the real problem came a few weeks later. One of the cows leaned against the decorative wooden fence the HOA had built along the path. The fence snapped instantly because it wasn't built to hold back livestock. That's when the HOA finally contacted me again. This time they were angry. They demanded I control my animals. They said the cows were damaging their bike trail. That's when I reminded them of something very simple. The cows were not on their property, they were on mine. Exactly where they had always been. A few weeks later, the situation got even worse. During a hot summer afternoon, several cows decided the paved bike path was the coolest place to stand, so they simply laid down right in the middle of the trail. Cyclists had no way around them, because both sides of the path were still fenced pasture. For several hours, the trail was completely blocked by cows. That's when the HOA finally decided to take legal action. They sent me a notice claiming my livestock were interfering with their community infrastructure. So I called my lawyer and we pulled out something very important. The original property survey, the land deed, and the official county land records, all of which clearly showed the pasture was entirely mine, and the bike trail had been built on my land. Without permission. When the HOA's lawyers saw the documents, everything changed, because legally, that trail wasn't theirs at all. It was an unauthorized structure on private property, meaning I had every legal right to demand its removal. The situation quickly turned into negotiations. The HOA realized tearing out the entire trail would cost a fortune, and it would also upset hundreds of residents who had already started using it, so they made me an offer. They wanted to officially purchase the strip of land where the trail sat, and they also agreed to install proper livestock fencing along the path. Strong fencing, the kind designed specifically for cattle. In the end, we reached an agreement. The HOA paid a large amount to legally secure the trail land. They rebuilt the fencing properly, and the cows went back to grazing peacefully on the rest of the pasture. But the lesson here is simple. Before you build something, you should probably make sure you actually own the land first, because sometimes the quiet pasture you're building through is home to 40 very curious cows. If you watched this story all the way to the end, leave a comment and tell me, which city and country are you watching from? And if you enjoy HOA drama stories like this, Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell so you don't miss the next story.